been hearing a lot about the art village called Nikola-Lenivets lately. The small rural spot outside Moscow has become a hit, with the Muscovites looking for a getaway to nature with a cultural element to it as well.
Yeah, the town attracts artists and cultural figures from around the world, including our guest this morning, Meier, an artist and musician from Switzerland. You're very welcome to Curated Russia.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you. So, really, tell us about what you were generally working on for those 2 weeks. What brought you to the Russian countryside?
Well, I got here through a friend who told me about this village, which sounded very interesting to me. I tried to find some information on the internet. I just saw a few amazing pictures and I couldn't really imagine what was really going on.
Yeah.
It seemed too crazy to be true. And well, I got there late in the evening and my friend immediately took me out to the fields where several of these huge installations
by
installed, Polisky's installations, and in particular one, the Universal Mind.
That's the one that you worked with,
where I was
right? We can actually have a look at it. There it is. It looks absolutely amazing. It's a wooden sculpture. It's out of this world. What did you do with it?
Well, I spent a lot of time in there, and I was working with people living in Nikola-Lenivets. It's a very peculiar place. It's, for me as a city person, going out there into the countryside and have all these huge artworks around kind of centers you back and you start hearing sounds in a different way again. We live in very noisy environments. And being out there in the environment, I spent a lot of time sitting and listening, and I met people and we talked a lot, and somehow it was a journey inside into your own imagination. And so with these people there, we were working on dreams. So it's an environment, I think, which is very good to talk about dreams and where you can have dreams because your mind is free to wander and you don't have to...
It's free to wander, but it's also sort of moved into those directions by all of these incredible sculptures and creations that are out there in the field.
This is like a huge brain, so it really activates all your neurons in the head. And so we were working on dreams, and I was working with these people in a more or less theatrical way. So we were trying to improvise and we were trying to reenact their dreams.
Hey, look. You moved from ants to human beings.
Oh, yes.
So step up, Robin.
Up. Watch out. So what I was trying to do there was to interpret their dreams through sound. So if you go into the sculpture, what you hear is the people telling their dreams and me creating like a soundtrack to their dreams. So you're in this immersive environment. You have many, many speakers playing different sounds, and you feel like being in a sound world of dreams, which the people in Nikola-Lenivets dreamed
And it's
up.
very interactive as well. So
yes, there are sensors around, and it's part of Dmitry Morozov's installation 42. So I use his speakers and sensors to trigger sounds and lights. There are many, many lights. There are maybe more than 700 lights flickering and turning on and off and synchronizing.
How did that happen, though? Did you talk to him on the spot when you were there, or did you already have an idea of what you wanted to do in Nikola-Lenivets?
I had a vague idea. I wanted to do something else, actually. And once I got there, I scrapped the idea and I started a new project, and I think it was the right decision.
Flexibility is key.
Can I ask a question about... It always fascinates me with artists just where they get their ideas from. Do you have a running theme that you try and implement in all your works? Or is it something you just come across something and evolve?
It's not so much that I try to implement it in every work. It's more that it just pops up every now and then, or maybe everywhere, which is science, or the scientific approach, the scientific worldview we have today, a very deterministic, experimental way of looking at life and explaining life. And for me as an artist, this is a very interesting theme because it governs the way we see the world around us. And I think as an artist, we work with that. And so science for me gives me the tools and inspirations for my work.
You're also underplaying a very key moment, I think, for all of your artwork. It's music, it's sound, because that's what it's your day job as well. It's what you work with. Can you expand on that a little bit, on how you've realized that that's something that you are good at, and that's something that you want to bring into your artwork as well?
Well, I started as a musician, indeed. So I studied composition and I specialized in electronic music. And through electronic music, I learned to use the tools for manipulating any kind of information, basically, because once you have data in a computer, be it sound or image or light or anything else, the techniques are more or less the same. So this technology opened up a whole world for me. In the beginning, of course, I was working just with electronic sounds, but then I noticed, with the same tools I can also control motors, or I can control a video projector, and so things started to take form and open
or a
up
mosquito.
This whole world, or mosquitoes, or ants, or people, TV presenters.
No, it's really good. I watched videos of your different art projects, and the one with mosquitoes is fascinating because there's an element of being mean to the creatures, aren't you? A little bit, because you're gluing them.
A lot of people say that, but actually...
But do they not mind?
I think the opposite is true, because when you're there and you see this installation, the way people interact with the mosquito is totally different from their
We're actually
way.
showing a video from a different installation. That's the ants one. That one is
The Tragedy of the Commons.
Fascinating. I love that one.
Thanks. Yes, it was a lot of fun to work on, even though my fingers are hurting. These ants have huge mandibles and they can easily cut through your skin.
Really?
So
pain for your work.
You sort of recreated a live space for them, and anyone can come in and see how ants start living in a community, because you offer them different food.
How they forage and how they exploit the resources around them. And what we do is we reproduce an economic experiment by Garrett Harding, or a situation he talks about in a paper called The Tragedy of the Commons, which is also the title of this piece. And the ants they play out this experiment, and the result is totally different from the scientific paper, because the ants are inherently collaborative, and a single ant won't do something individualistic in its ways. You have to look at the ant colony as a whole, or sort of meta-organism. And so I was interested in that notion of
so it's very, very different to
as one
humans.
Being. On a certain level, maybe, but I think we can also find like similar mechanisms in human society, of emergent properties of like social masses lining up, or things synchronizing amongst large groups of people. So it's an interesting subject.
It's a fascinating project.
You held a lecture in Moscow, I believe. How are Russians responding to your ideas? Is there a hunger for that type of, the mix of technology and art together? How have you found it here?
I think so, there were a lot of questions, which is good, and people seem to be genuinely interested. And yes, I think there's a lot of interest for work that brings together science and art, and also using technology. I mean, there's already a lot of stuff happening here, obviously, and so it was great also to meet people working in the same field, but coming from a very different cultural background and having a different approach to this. So it was, I think, great for them as it was for me.
Very quickly, was this your first time in Moscow?
It was.
Did you enjoy it? Are you going to come back?
And I have to come back as soon as possible.
Brilliant. You're very welcome, Robin. You should come back. Thank you so much for making it into the studio. Have a lovely day ahead.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in, Robin. Wonderful stuff.